Hi, welcome back. So we are continuing National Infertility Awareness Week, and all this week we have been talking about things that you can do to plan if you want to build a family. But also today we're talking about freezing eggs, which I think is very interesting. So we have Dr. Julie Lamb with us from Pacific Northwest Fertility. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Michelle.
We're excited because you've really dedicated your whole life in terms of like helping people, empower people making decisions on their fertility. Did I say that?
Yeah, you totally said that just right. Yes, it's so important for women to have an option and learn about their fertility options.
So what are the options? Because I mean, I think some of us feel like, well, what do we have? What can we actually do?
Yeah, so there's lots of high-tech options, which we call assisted reproductive technology, which involves going through essentially the IVF process in order to save your eggs for the future. But even little options like just learning about fertility and when is your optimal fertility. Like a lot of doctors don't even know that.
Oh, okay.
So women just in general, it's important to learn about your health. It used to be that everyone was having babies in their 20s, and it's a lot different picture when we're having babies in our 30s or 40s.
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering. You know, are people thinking about this in their 20s now? I mean, let's talk about the egg freezing parties that you're having.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, so it's more of an educational event in a non-threatening way where we get women together and take away the stigma of talking about women's health and fertility and allow women to educate themselves. What's a fertility window? What kind of testing can you do for your fertility? How do you think about your future? You know, how many kids do you want to have? You want to, you know, have kids in your mid-40s or your mid-30s? All those things are going to shape what kind of options you have for the future.
I'm just wondering who's going to these parties.
Yes,
are they
that's a
people
good
who are
question.
working at Amazon, or are they, you know, people in news?
A little bit of both. It's certainly easier to do the trickier, more technical options if you have coverage for it. So certainly that's the tech groups. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons to delay fertility, whether it's you haven't found the right partner, you're not ready to have a baby, or education. All of that, you know, contributes to whether somebody might want to delay their family.
Yeah, it is really interesting because in my circle of friends, we are talking about that more. Like I have a lot of friends who are single, they have no idea when they might, you know, want to build their family, and they are seriously considering freezing their eggs. What concerns should people have if they're thinking about that? I mean, what's the likelihood you could, you know, have a baby if you do that?
So it certainly depends on a lot of factors. Egg freezing isn't right for everybody. There's not necessarily an age limit, but there's an age where it's most successful. So thinking about this in your early 30s is certainly more successsul than in your late 30s.
Okay, so what is one takeaway someone who is watching this, whether they're on Facebook and watching us live or they're on television watching us live, what's one takeaway they should have?
Just empower yourself, and don't be afraid to ask questions about your fertility and learn what your options are so you can make the right choice for you.
Okay. Dr. Lamb, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I appreciate it so much. All right, where are we going next?
To me.
Angela.
All right, thanks, Michelle. You know, one thing we like to do here on Take 5 is celebrate game changers, people who are really making a difference in their communities. And today we are highlighting a public school teacher who quit her job to start her own school. Why she took on this huge project to celebrate Spanish in school.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
My name is Farron Hauk, and I am a teacher. I'm also the founder and head of school right now at Seattle Amistad School. A ver, ¿me vas a contar lo que estás haciendo?
This is a place where kids who start school speaking Spanish aren't told to speak English.
¿Cómo suena? Ga. Mira,
It's been hard work, and honestly, it's been a lot of, you know, physically and just like a lot of hours, and I've, you know, times when I'm just exhausted and I feel like, oh, maybe I'm the only one who cares about this.
cocina. Cocina, muy bien.
We have a mix of kids who are native Spanish speakers, native English speakers, and bilingual kids. If that's your first language, it's about being your whole self and not having to sacrifice any part of that for anyone.
The immersion school opened in Seattle's Central District 6 years ago. Farron had been a public school teacher, but felt the need to do more when her professional concerns became personal. Once her young son started going to school, they stopped speaking Spanish at home.
so then when my younger daughter came along, we felt like I just don't want to do that again. We don't want to have that. We want to create a community for her where she can grow up and be proud of this and develop this and feel confident in both languages, which is what I felt like my sons didn't have. What we know is that when children are able to maintain their language and develop a strong language, first language, their English is better in the long term.
Borrar. Muy bien.
But the part I think that was unexpected for me was how important the community is and how much it has been, how important it has been for my family as well. Oh, I don't want you to put this. So we don't have investors, we don't have endowments, we don't have a lot of resources, but what we do have is everyone in our community who's willing to give what they have. Hearing families tell me that this is the place where they come to, it's their safe place, and hearing kids who feel like, you know, who are so proud of themselves with what they're learning and what they're doing and what they're able to do, those are the kinds of things that sort of carry me through and make it worth all of the hard work.
And Amistad just opened up a North Seattle location. So if you would like to know more, you can text the word LEARN to 206-448-4545. You know, it's funny, I've put both my kids in bilingual education, not at that school, but other places. And people always say, well, what are they going to do academically if they aren't learning English? Well, the research shows when they took 18,000 kids and had them just learn one language, the one language learners do better at first. But by the time middle school happens, the kids who were learning two languages surpass them.
Right.
It's something about lighting up the brain.
So what are you going to do when they start talking behind your back in a different language?
Already happened.
Yeah.
I'm like asking like Alexa or Siri, like what does that
Can you
mean?
record this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm terribly distracted because the sun is out. We're trapped inside like so many of you. Yesterday we broke temperatures. Let's go outside for a second.
Yes, let's
Jordan,
go.
you're the weather guy. I mean, we broke temperatures yesterday. They've been around since they started recording that stuff. Any chance we're going to break temps today?
So, no, I don't think we'll get that close. I'm coming back this way. You guys are doing that thing. I do think tomorrow, though, we got a chance to see several 80s yet again. I mean, today is gorgeous. A little cool. But I want to point out,
You're not going to
it's
spoil the
deceiving.
fun, are you?
No, it's just, you know, you think on a hot day to just like jump in the fountain. Don't do it. Or jump in the river or the lake. And temperatures are still frigid right now. In fact, most of our lakes, temperatures are in the 40s. And you got to think about the rivers. I mean, we have some video of some beautiful waterfall yesterday from King 5 Chopper. But basically, those rivers are snow melt. So, I mean, it's frigid. Don't go thinking you're going to jump in. Even on the National Weather Service's website today, on their main page, it said, wear a life jacket. The water's cold, and what happens right when you jump in the water in cold water? What does your body do?
Dude, you get shocked, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then some people will choke on water anyway. So
I took my girls to Lake
pointing that
Savannah State Park yesterday, and I saw some brave kids booking full speed towards the water.
Did they
And
jump in?
I thought, man, is it going to be that? And it looked like one of those auto rewind where they went in and they went, and ran right back out. So good tip. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
That was great.
Wasn't that funny?
That was my
Do
instant
it again.
replay.
Do it again.
My instant
Do it
replay.
again.
All right, it looks like our producer's telling us we have to take a quick break, but we
Okay.
want to stay. So just stay with us, and we'll be right back.
More to come on the other side of this. Take a break. They said take a break. I'm taking a break.